Hey folks, Dave Ashenbrunner back again. Today is part 2 of the What's the Point discussion that we started in my last installment. Today we are going to go really deep into this, and for anyone who didn't see Gary Solomon's original show, What's the Point, I will put a link down below, and you should also see the first part of this, the What's the Point 1. And we're continuing the discussion today on what the AR3 is, what part it plays in the recumbent trikes, what it is and what it isn't. So we got a great show for you today. Stick around. We're going to go out in the shop today. Hey folks, welcome to the shop once more. You know the drill, the fans running today. Got a really few things that I'd like to say. So there's no misunderstandings about what the AR3 is. I basically invented this 40 years ago, and I had aspirations of it being partially a transportation vehicle, modeled for some of the bicycle trails around Madison, Wisconsin. There were some nice trails around there that went to some of the communities and went around the campus, the college campus there, huge campus. And over 40 years, I've had a lot of time to think. And not only that, but things have changed in 40 years. The aspirations of coming up with a human pedal-powered car are so out of what's happening right now these days. And I'm going to explain that by just saying there's a lot of pod cars, little single-person occupancy vehicles that run on batteries. They're basically city vehicles right now, but they're increasing in range, and I think trying to compete with those vehicles with a pedal car is a little bit, I'm going to say, a reach. And the day of the electric vehicle is here now. And the pedaling per transportation is now changed in a way that the people in my age group are really trying to find health. They're trying to find youth, maintain their youth, and enjoy themselves. And there are so many park systems and rails to trails now that it's become a whole different thing. I think I would like to sum up the pedal cars as something that the industry has already taken on in a number of ways right now, and seeing how they've been developing over about the last 5 or 6 years, I'm pretty amazed at what they have out there. The iRoad was mentioned in the last program as one of the aspirations for designing a pedal car around. And I'm just going to touch on that for a second. I promised I would say something about the technology of these. I've spent the last 40 years of my life inventing robotic and CNC machines. I actually am the guy who's up to the task of taking an Arduino, hooking it to a motion board, and plugging in sensors and programming those sensors. We've done this already with CNC machines and a number of different machines that we've built. I could do that, but I just think industry's already doing that. It'd be a waste of time just to try to get your vehicle up a little bit higher and negotiate through traffic. My thought would be to build a mast with specialty lights on it, maybe, so that you can be seen in traffic. There's no real safe way of riding in traffic on a bicycle. I've done it. I rode a motorcycle all my life. The way people are so distracted with cell phones and everything else that's going on in their dashboard, and everybody's on their telephone, and it's just scary. I just wouldn't do it. So that's me. there's a lot of younger people out there that don't have the same outlook. And I understand. I was younger. I'm going to live forever. When I was 26 years old, I wasn't going to die. So my thoughts on the AR3 is that it has a different place. It has a different place in its functionality than what it was originally invented for. However, it was a pretty neat invention when I invented it. I've heard people comment that three-wheel tilting trikes are complicated, they weigh 50% more, what's the point? You know, I'm going to tell you what the point is right now. This doesn't weigh, this is very svelte. This bike weighs comparable to any other three-wheel tadpole out there on the market, not an ounce more. And if I made it, if I built this from aluminum, I could probably weigh even less than some of the tadpoles out there. So this really qualifies to compete with a regular tadpole. And the one thing, you could make a chart and a report card and say that this one is higher, or this one's wider, or this one's narrower, or this one is this or that. But the one box that was not on any of the report cards, and it's very subjective to who rides it, is the fun, is the experience that you get from it. Now, I've done some videos where I've done demo rides and I've had people get off this thing and they're just literally tickled, like somebody's been tickling them. There's a real something going on here. And I displayed those videos for that reason, so that anybody who gets on any kind of recumbent, they'll get off and say, yeah, it's pretty nice, yeah, I like this or that about it. But nobody gets off of a three-wheel tadpole and laughs and giggles and is real excited, and not to the level that I've seen it when I go to my demo rides. It's just an amazing thing. So, you know, any engineer or person who looks at this and says, yeah, but it's this, or there's a problem with bump steer, or there's this or that, all they need to do is get on and ride it. Anyone who's going to get up and say something about this, I think I'd like to have them ride it first. That would really qualify them to have an opinion on it. The other thing that I keep hearing over and over again, and not necessarily by engineers, in fact, the fellow there on Gary's show was pretty, I think he understood on the steering on here. There's a pair of control rods or tie rods that go to the front that actually tie the front wheels to the frame in the middle. And that's what stops it. Those struts stop it from any kind of wheel reaction or anything. In fact, I unlinked the brakes. My original idea was to link the brakes for stability on it, and I unlinked them. And even when you go into a corner and you hit the inside brake, the inside wheel, it doesn't do what you think it would do. You can feel it reacting to the frame a little bit. There's a little bit of a kind of a sensation that it's pulling on the frame slightly, but it doesn't pull the front wheel in toward you. It's just really stable, and I don't know how else to say that other than take it from the people that wrote it and some of the comments that were made. This bike is very stable. I don't want to get on the bandwagon and start beating the drum about this. It probably sounds silly if I keep at it. My invention, this bike, has a very important role to play in what a three-wheel recumbent is. This plays a very important role in a sport machine that you can enjoy while you're riding it, and it'll give you something that no other trike can give you. There's no other trike like it. It's lightweight, it's nimble, it's fast, and it's very controllable. And as far as my opinion about building a car, a pedal car, I've been seeing this over the last 40 years. I've been watching it, and I don't want to be insulting, but some of these are almost comical. You look at them, and the first thing you think of is weight. Every time you pedal stroke, you're going to fight weight, the weight of it. Anytime you have a large frontal area on a vehicle of any kind, you're going to be fighting wind resistance. Now, maybe it's not a real big deal if it's calm out, but if you're pedaling into a headwind, God help you. It's even on a bicycle, you got to stand up on the pedals and really stroke it. So I think the technology now, with the technology of it, I would be a perfect person to work out the technology of it, but it's not in my soul, it's not in my heart, because I don't believe that a pedal vehicle is ever gonna take over what the single occupancy vehicles are. And this is just my opinion, but having looked at this for 40 years after coming out with this and having that idea, and then having some soul searching over 40 years of what a pedicar or a pedal vehicle is, technology is just past it leaps and bounds right now. So I would feel satisfied in my heart knowing that when you drive through a big city and you look, every single car has got one person in it. You see SUVs and trucks and everything. Everybody's going as fast as they can, rushing home, going places. They're on their phone, they're distracted, they're screwing around. One person per car. That's just amazing. I think the movement of single occupancy cars, I think, is the first step in going green with this. And I think enjoying your ride on your bicycle, staying out of harm's way, and if you have to be on the roads to be with traffic to get somewhere on your tricycle or bicycle, I think you should have proper lighting behind you, and or a flag or whatever it takes. I myself, I get out there on the beautiful nature trails, and I love feeling the wind in my face and through my hair. And if you're looking for excitement and enjoyment in your retirement, or just on the weekends, for what have you, I've invented the perfect vehicle. So now that we got that out of the way, we're going to move on to some exciting stuff that we got coming up here in my next program. Thanks for coming out to the shop, and we'll see you next week.